One thing I do know is that most of our decisions boil down to life and death. It may not be a physical death, but it can be the death of your company, the death of a contract, or even the death of a relationship. So I teach one thing: decide or die.
What would you say are things that people would allow them to move past that fear that you just mentioned?
Everything that happens in your life happens for your good. Everything that happens twice. Once in your mind and then in reality. Your thoughts lead to feelings, your feelings lead to emotions, your emotions lead to outcomes. If you control your thoughts, your outcomes are going to be good.
Hey, how's everybody doing? This is Andrew Rhoden. Today I have a special guest for you. Dr. Geoffrey's here, and y'all, this is an amazing person. I would tell you, I've heard him speak, and the jewels that he drops when he speaks, it makes you question what you're doing and puts you in the right phase. So this is truly a blessing and honor here. And also, he went to the greatest institution on earth, the Hampton University. And he's also part of the greatest fraternity on earth, Alpha Phi Alpha. All right, Dr. Geoffrey, you go ahead and introduce yourself to all those out there.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me on your show. Thank you for everything that you do. I am Dr. Geoffrey, America's decision expert. I go around the world, I teach experts, I teach leaders how to make decisions under pressure. I've made thousands of life and death decisions in the ER. I've used that same decision discipline and used it in boardrooms and high yield situations, high stakes situations. One thing I do know is that most of our decisions boil down to life and death. It may not be a physical death, but it can be the death of your company, the death of a contract, or even the death of a relationship. So I teach one thing: decide or die.
Wow, that's deep already. We just got started. And so what got you into this business realm to even go that route, from the ER to now being one of the top consultants in the country?
Well, as an emergency medicine physician, that's what I do. I make split-second decisions. And then combined with the fact that the mayor of Washington, D.C. many years ago asked me to be in charge of Ebola, the emergency response for Ebola for the entire city, then be involved in a number of mass casualties, I learned that decision-making, especially under pressure, was key, because we're all products of our decisions.
Okay, wow. And so with that, for those out there that are like experiencing pressures just in life and with business, what would be some recommendation or advice you have for them?
Well, I would say that most people's issue is not deciding, it's not making a bad decision, it's choosing not to make a decision at all. Because after all, no decision is a decision. Then you will ask me, well, what keeps people from making decisions? It's usually one or two things: your thoughts or your emotions. And the main emotion being fear. And this is the part I need people to listen to. We were only born with two natural fears: fear of loud noises and the fear of falling. That means that any other fear has been self-created. And if it has been self-created, it can be unlearned as well.
That's deep, y'all. I know y'all haven't heard that, because when I heard that, I believe it was last year, when Doc mentioned that, I could tell you, it had the whole crowd of, whoa, those are the two natural fears, and everything else is just what, distraction?
Distraction, exactly what that is. Distraction. Wow. Love that word.
Yeah. So, that's one of the key things, y'all, that you have to think about. Your mind is so strong, but we don't, put the tools or the focus that we need on that. And what got you into entrepreneurship?
It's interesting you would say that, because being a full-time ER doctor, there's plenty of work for us.
Yeah.
But one thing I wanted to do is I wanted to be in control of my destiny. I reached a point in my life where I just didn't want anybody to tell me what to do. As an entrepreneur, as you know, There's no cap to how much you can make. It's one of those, entrepreneurship is real simple. You eat what you kill. But if you don't kill anything, you don't eat. But I wanted to get in the space where I could create more legacy for my family.
Oh, wow. That's deep, y'all. That is definitely deep. And so, going into entrepreneurship, what would you say starting off the biggest challenges that you faced?
The biggest challenges was getting used to not having a paycheck, not having a staff, and not knowing where your next client was coming from, where your next contract. There's a space in there where, if most entrepreneurs are honest, there's a level of fear. But keep in mind, it's important to move past fear. If you experience it, that's okay. But as long as you move past it and keep learning and keep learning and keep learning.
What would you say are things that people would allow them to move past that fear that you just mentioned?
First thing, just know that everything that happens in your life, or most things that happen in your life, happens for your good. It just may not be your immediate good. And the other thing about moving past fear is, follow me on this one. Your thoughts are creative. Everything that happens twice. Once in your mind, and then in reality. Your thoughts lead to feelings, your feelings lead to emotions, your emotions lead to outcomes. If you control your thoughts, your outcomes are going to be good.
Wow, okay. And so when did you finally realize that you needed a team around you to build your business?
When I was trying to do everything on my own, because when you had a client, but yet you had projects due, when you had projects due, but yet you had to create it. I mean, you had to create stuff. I learned that it's better to have other people working with you, because you can do okay by yourself, but you can move faster with a team.
All right. And one of the key things that I've always appreciated about you is that, you've taken your branding to another level. If I remember correctly, you have 2 books that you've published.
Yeah, I've got 2 bestsellers.
Okay.
One of them is called Split Second Decisions, Train Your Mind for Split Second Decisions. And the other one's called Fast Decisions, Think Fast, Be Bold, and Be Fearless. People ask me, well, what is the difference? Split second decisions are those decisions you have to make in seconds. Because after all, we make about 35,000 decisions every single day.
Wow.
But about 1 or 2% of our life-changing, life-altering, and those are split seconds. Then the other book is about fast decisions. And basically it's about those decisions where you have a little more time, but there's still a time factor involved.
Wow. And, one of things that we see a lot of times is that entrepreneurs start an endeavor saying they're going to write a book, but never ever get it done. So any advice for those people that are in that chapter of their life where it's like they might have gotten the first chapter or may have just had the title ready? How would you say they get past the finish line on that?
There's a few different things. That's an excellent question. First of all, start with an outline. And this is key. Circle in the calendar the day your book is going to be published. Publish. Because as they will soon find out, writing a book is one thing. What they say is that 76% of people who actually write a book, they don't get it published. When I say published, that means you've got to get it formatted, you got to get it bounded, you got to get it covered, you have to upload it. There are a number of different steps, and people usually stop once they write it. Set a date and commit to yourself that your book will be published, meaning that somebody can go on Amazon or wherever you're going to sell it and purchase it.
Nice. That's amazing, because so many I know have great concepts and ideas that could benefit so many if they did finally put it in black and white, but they just haven't taken that step. Doc, one of the things that I've always appreciated about you, that you're a family first type person. And, I saw that this past week with your son and your daughter. Can you touch on, for those that think that you can't have a family and a business?
It's funny, the part of the answer that I left out about why I went to entrepreneurship, part of it was the kids. I was working a full-time job, full-time in the ER, and my son needed to be at practice, and my daughter needed to be at softball practice. I was having to try to find rides. And what I do know is that you only have one shot with kids. As an entrepreneur, I get to create my own schedule. And therefore, I could put time in there. I'm going to go to this practice, I'm going to go to this game. And by the way, I coached 13 of my kids' teams.
Oh, wow.
So being an entrepreneur allows you to set your own schedule. And what you plan for, what you do those things that are important to you.
That's amazing, y'all, because I tell y'all, that's one of the biggest excuses I hear all the time, Doc, is the fact that people say, man, I got a family, so I won't have time for a business, you know? So they find every reason not to finally pursue that dream or, you know, overcome that hurdle.
You know that because you have a family,
Yeah,
you need a business.
exactly.
I'm sure you've experienced this in this last couple of years. Many of these people who have these secure jobs.
Secure is not secure anymore, right? The only guarantee in life we have is death.
That's only, and paying your taxes.
Yeah, and paying taxes, right? Yeah. So, you know, that's the thing is that we just have to realize that if you want something, you got to pursue it.
Oh, yes.
Because fear, as Doc has mentioned so many times, that, you know, that stops so many from getting to where they should be in life. You know, we had someone on here earlier that was talking about the woulda, shoulda, couldas, and how many times that's influenced people from not getting to where it's supposed to be.
Well, your life is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Look at what you're doing. Look at how you step outside of law and you're pursuing other interests. And what most people do not realize is that there's a certain level of fear that you had to move past.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that you had a goal in mind that for those difficult days, it kept you moving.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I'm always thinking about that legacy and, you know, providing for my parents and making a better future for my niece. And if I ever get married or have kids one day, you know, providing for that. And I got my mentees and the kids that I've, you know, had to step in and be a father figure for. Those are the ones that I think about of what is my legacy going to be when I leave this planet.
That's good. That's good. That's real good.
And, you know, the key thing that, you know, I always tell people is you can change the world, but if you can change the world, it's going to be easier with having finances behind it.
Woo! I'm going to add to that. The way you change the world is you change yourself. Yes. By having finances behind that, you can go to more experiences which change you.
Yes.
Oh, you nailed it. Oh, you nailed that one.
Yes, indeed. And so, you know, what's the clients that you have? What's your ideal client base so that people out there know, like, you know, how they can, you know, be helped by you?
As America's decision expert, I deal with leaders, executives who work in high yield, high stress situations. Those who have to make high stakes decisions. So if you're in leadership, if you're in executive management, if you're making high stakes decisions, then I am your person, because everybody thinks that they are a good decision maker. But what studies find is that the higher you get, no one's going to tell you that you're not a good decision maker, especially decisions under pressure.
Yeah, very true. Because one of the key things that we talk about all the time is that you got to realize that you need help during this process. So many entrepreneurs I know hit a glass ceiling because of the fact that they are that ceiling, right? Yep. And they won't get out of their own way. You know, can you tell us, like, I know we're in the same consulting group, you know, what pushed you to finally, you know, say, hey, I need that help, or I'm going to get that help?
No man is an island unto himself. By joining a group, by having people who think like you around you, it motivates you, it energizes you. And if you ever fall, you have someone who can catch you. Whereas I'm sure you've experienced, if you're the only entrepreneur and you trip, people are gonna say, I told you so. Whereas when you're in a tribe, if you trip, they're gonna hold you up and they're gonna tell you how you get back up.
Yeah, because, you know, one of the biggest things I say is entrepreneurship is a lonely life, right?
Woo!
Because there comes that point where you gotta, as they say, trim the fat.
Trim the fat.
Where, you know, your friends who you may have grew up with or went undergrad with, or your teammates, that you just gotta keep them at a distance. Not saying you gotta erase them and purge them from your life, but I mean, like, not giving them that access.
Yes.
Can you explain to the people out there why it's important to have that access stance when it comes to having friends and family around?
Well, there's this study that most people have heard about, that if you take the income level of your 5 friends around you, yours is going to be very, very similar. For instance, if you have 9 friends who smoke weed, you're going to be the 10th person. For instance, if you were in school, your GPA is going to be similar to those people you are with. Hence, your environment almost means everything, because your income level as an entrepreneur is going to be similar to the other entrepreneurs that you hang around. If you're not hanging around any entrepreneurs, the struggle is going to be more difficult.
At any point in your career, have you ever had anybody try to like push you out of entrepreneurship or say you shouldn't be there?
Absolutely. Because some things I've had happen in the past, I regularly, because I've run organizations, I've run entire city organizations, and I regularly get job opportunities that pay 7 figures. And when I used to share that with family members, they used to say I was crazy. So you know what I do? I don't share it anymore. I just say no.
Yeah.
Because I have a vision. I've got a goal. It's very important not to have anyone interfere with that.
Looking back at when you were starting in your career as an entrepreneur, is there anything that you would go back and change today if you could do it all over again?
I would have done it sooner.
Okay.
I would have, instead of hiring people to do stuff right away, I would have learned the basics of it first and then hired people. My costly lessons have been from hiring people because I didn't know what I was hiring for. What I would really encourage people is that, especially those people who come from careers where they're making money, instead of jumping in and hiring people, figure it out yourself. I'm not saying to do it the whole time, but learn how to do social media, learn how to post, learn how to do automation so that when you are ready to choose someone, you know who and what you're looking for.
Yeah, I gotta tell y'all, when you become an entrepreneur and people realize you're the CEO of your company, you're gonna get every expert company in the world that's gonna be in your inbox.
Everybody.
And they're gonna try to sell you a package because they've worked with so many companies, they're the tops in this and tops in that. And at the end of the day, the only thing topped is you done topped out your credit card working with them.
And the packages are gonna sound so good.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
You know, sometimes it make you feel like you're gonna walk on water at times, but but that's exactly why you should learn the basics and foundation to make sure that you're not getting scammed out there, because you have a target on your back when you're an entrepreneur, you know? And for those that are having challenges of being on top, what is your advice to them of worrying about people coming at them or trolling them? Because I see, for example, you have an amazing social media platform. You're always putting content up, but the biggest thing I hear people say all the time is, I'm worried about what people are gonna say or the trolls that are out there.
Well, I will, similar to what I tell young people, what other people think about you is none of your business. And the way you get around the trolls, because after all, social media, especially in comments, everybody's big, bad, and bold. Everyone has something to say. But when I found out that the biggest stars, that they don't read their comments because people can be very, very mean, I don't read my comments anymore. I may read the first 5, and now I have a team. So the team will send me comments that I may want to read, comments that I may want to get back to the person. But mean comments, I don't even see those anymore.
I never thought about that, not reading the comments.
Not reading, yeah, or have somebody read them for you.
That's true. I never thought about that. That's definitely something I'm gonna definitely go ahead and get implemented on my end.
I mean, I did a great read series. It got over 1 million views, and there were comments in there like, he's not even a doctor. I mean, they were just saying all this mean stuff. Only reason why I knew, because my daughter, she decided she was going to read it, or she was going to tell me.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I have people who read them, and they don't tell me the bad stuff.
Yeah, transparent moment here. You know, for y'all that know, I used to be super engaged in social media because I did sports broadcasting and everything like that. But there was a time when I had won the award. It was National Black Lawyers Top 40 Under 40. I actually had an individual make a comment on the post that, you know, it really just threw me for a loop. And I actually didn't realize maybe until like last year or so working with my business therapist that comment there is what triggered me to stop posting. And I don't know, I did not realize why until we sat in therapy to figure out what was my blockade. So, you know, that's one of the reasons I asked you that question, is like how to overcome that.
And thank you for sharing it, because unless you have experienced it, because most people think, oh, why are you even worried about it? Because you don't know the person. It's still hurtful.
Yeah.
And sometimes they say very mean things.
Yeah.
I would encourage people again, not to read them, but the other program, because you mentioned how active my social media following is, because my other plan was, if I have so much content in there and people are commenting on other stuff, your mean post, no one's gonna see it.
That's true.
Because I have a bunch of other posts happen. That's why my social media game has increased, because I need to block out those people who are trying to be mean.
And for those that aren't aware of like the importance of social media, why is it that you post so regularly or even put up content?
I post for a few different reasons. A lot of my posts are about health. And there are very few Black physicians who are speaking about Black health. It has become my calling. And I'm not doing any type of dancing. When I post, I'm speaking fact. And I can tell you, of all the things that happen to me daily, what warms my heart is when somebody sees me on the street and said, hey, I saw your post on such and such. I made sure I went to my doctor and got checked. That warms my heart, because I think that every generation has to teach something. Every generation has to help. That's a small way that I help folks.
Yeah, that's a tremendous point, because there's so many out there that don't see the importance of social media and how it can be a tool or device or engine to even bring new clients in, or even just effectuate change like you're doing. Like you said, it's very rare that you ever see a physician that looks like yourself. And that's the key thing. You want to make sure that you help as many as you can out there. One of the key things I want to talk to you, Doc, about is the fact that, both of us are in Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And we have a Kappa in the background here. We won't talk about him right now, but we got Kappa in the background. Okay, I'm sorry, a noob in the background.
Those noobs are real sensitive.
Yes. So we're starting to see, though, that we're starting to see that the fraternities are starting to be attacked by social media. Can you just tell those out there the importance of why fraternity, how it has shaped or molded you over your years?
Fraternities are the backbone of this country. I didn't say just the Black folks. The Divine Nine, which are made up of historically Black sororities and fraternities, are the backbone of this country. Whenever there has been a social justice issue, it's been the sororities and the fraternities that kept the country safe and moving forward. A good example would be that if you were not born in this country, you immigrated to this country, and you are now a citizen, it was the D9 that allowed that amendment to take place. So you should thank the D9, because it's on our backbones that are the many of our migrant brothers and sisters are here, and that they're citizens.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't realize, Malcolm X, Dr. Martin Luther King, Jesse Jackson, countless number of the people have made such a difference in the civil rights. We're all part of fraternities and sororities across the United States. And unfortunately, we're starting to see them being attacked now, being that, we're worshiping idols and all these types of things. I never worshiped an idol crossing, did you?
Neither have I.
So, I don't know where none of that came from, but it's some attack that we are now seeing for people that are in fraternities.
Now, I have to admit, within the D9, Alphas, they tend to attack us a little more. But I understand. Because when you were on top, when you started all, when everybody else originated from you,
true,
there's a level of jealousy.
Right.
But one thing I appreciate about them is that when we walk into the room, they show us deference, because they know the true original leaders have arrived.
There you have it, y'all. We're not gonna mind the noob in the background. I wish we had another camera to see his face right now. But he's a good brother himself. But he'll be on one of these future episodes. But Doc, for those that are out there that want to reach you, what's the best way for them to reach you, either to get your services or even to get your book? Because I tell you, his book is amazing, y'all. I remember the first time I met him, he told me about his book. I went and purchased it immediately.
I appreciate it,
It's
brother.
a great read, so make sure y'all get that.
Thank you. You can go to americasdecisionsexpert.com. Again, americasdecisionsexpert.com. Or you can go to Instagram at Dr. That's Dr. Geoffrey MPH. That's DrGeoffrey MPH. Or Facebook, Geoffrey Mount Varner.
All right, there y'all have it. Dr. Geoffrey, one of the leading physicians in the world. You notice I didn't say Georgia, I didn't say Maryland,
My man.
I didn't say the United States, I said the world.
Testifying. He's
This is
testifying.
the person that you need to speak to if you are really serious about taking your business to another level. The reason being is that we talked about in this episode that our mind is one of the biggest things that prevents us from getting and reaching our goals. So you need somebody like Dr. Geoffrey in your life so that you can overcome those hurdles and become the best version of you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, this is Andrew Rhoden, Dr. Geoffrey. We're checking out. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you
Have
very
a good
much.
night.